Hello everyone and welcome to another unit review with me, Umber Rays, and today we're going to be taking a look at Locke, the new version, the 5-star version of Locke, and it's cool that old characters are starting to get upgraded versions. But I'm just going to say right now, early on in this review, while I think Locke is a interesting unit, I think that he is not worth building right now, and I also do think that I hate this type of unit. Locke is one of the units that I am going to hate well into the future, and is probably going to be one of the things that I am going to be the most, well, he's going to be one of the most hated units for me this entire year, and I'll explain why. But let's talk about Locke first, because without context, it might not be completely fair in the least to just, explain. So let's talk about Locke's kit. But first, let's take a look at his animation. So, yeah, his animations are pretty cool. They're pretty swift and fast. So, Locke's a thief. Makes sense. Hey, look at that. I also like the little flare on his limit burst of just stealing the gold, too. Funnily enough, his limit burst doesn't have a thieving component, too. So I think that's a giant fuck-up on Alum's part. Why have the flare if it doesn't do the thing? I mean, stealing in this game I know has never been a thing, but it could have been a thing, and they chose not to do it. So, I don't like that. But looking at his TMR, I think his TMR is quite good. 60% attack up when equipped with a dagger and 100% charm resistance. This is a solid TMR to get your hands on. I mean, the charm resistance alone is just really, really good. It is a way to protect against charm on many attackers, since there are some good daggers in the game, and yeah, I just think this is really solid. Now his super TMR on the other hand, which I guess I don't have in this state, let's just go back 1,000 times. Thank you, game. That's very, very kind of you. Super TMR is a dagger, speaking of good daggers in the game, 165 attack, 30% chance to dodge physical attacks, 20% chance to evade magical attacks, and it has a 50% chance of causing sleep. I hate this thing. I fucking hate this thing. This is going to be arena cancer. Magic attacks have been one of the few ways that you can get by in arena, and this just makes arena more shit. I have no nice words for this dagger. In trials and everything, it's going to be nice, but the problem with this in trials is that while everybody's going to go, oh boy, magic evasion, you know what's going to happen? They're just going to put accuracy on bosses, and then the evasion won't matter worth shit. So yeah, I hate this so much right now, and I just don't have anything nice to say about this TMR, or this super TMR at all. I think it's a really bad thing to add into the game, and for global players who are wondering, I think it's like Lilith. There you go. So let's move on and talk about the rest of Locke. Now, as the unit himself, he's pretty damn good. I mean, for what is essentially a functional debuffer, he has some really nice attack stats, good HP, good defense, okay, spirit, I guess, and some good MP too. All of that means that he's a pretty good unit to bring along into a battle as a debuffer. Looking at his equipment too, he has good options: daggers, swords, great swords, whips, projectiles, and fists, as well as light shields, means that he's pretty flexible for either built for being a survivable unit or for being just a breaker, and that's pretty good. Now, looking at his limit burst, if I can just get back there, pretty nice. It is a single target 6 hit. Yes, 6 hit. Had to double check on that. Sometimes there's a backloaded damage hit, but not this time. 6 hit, 2,450% physical attack. Single target debuff 100% water resistance for 3 turns, and single target minus 74% for all stats to the enemy. Of course, that's single target for 3 turns. This is another just strong limit burst debuffer, and we've seen a lot of these by now. Edgar was like this, as well as Orin and CG Lid, so this is definitely a strong breaker, but is it necessarily worth like just putting a ton of shit into trying to get this guy? Probably not, and I'll explain in a little bit, but one of his abilities, just like Terra, and I believe Edgar and Sabin, all the 5-star versions of Final Fantasy VI have an ability where if their HP drops below enough, like basically 21%, it enhances their limit burst. Locke's becomes a 3,900% physical attack, 120% water debuff for 3 turns, and an 84% debuff to all stats for 3 turns. It's power creep, but it's power creep with a condition, and a condition that may or may not be good. While you can definitely build Locke to be more survivable and put different things on him to help him survive, it is kind of conditional, and to get the most out of it, there's probably going to be a debuffer down the line that just does 84%. And you may be wondering, how the hell can I guarantee that? Well, enemies are now coming with essentially enhanced stats, meaning the stats that they even put in the game are not their real stats. The enemies actually have more stats because they have passives that just make them stronger. So an 84% debuff is actually not 84%. It's probably closer to 74% depending on the trial, which means that Locke's debuffs are not as good as they are advertised. And this is another part I just don't like about Locke. It is a selling feature of, oh, look how strong his debuffs are. Actually, they're not that strong. Okay, we're getting into a little bit tricky territory. He has escape, he has steal, of course he's a thief with a heart of gold, so there you go. He has some weird chaining abilities in that they are a very different frame, and this is the other thing to talk about Locke. He is functionally as well a chainer, and he is a chainer that can also do debuffs. 2 of his big AoE hits, AoE debuff for either attack or magic, or defense and spirit, are chaining abilities. Since he can put the water element on too, he can be a water elemental chainer. But there's a couple things here. First of all, water element is not easy to find on a ton of other people right now. And while Locke can debuff the water element for a huge percentage, here's my big problem. Not Lunara style chaining, not Holy Explosion or Divine Ruination chaining, not AT chaining. It's Stardust Ray chaining. 10 hit, 10 frames with a very weird startup. It is an incredibly small chaining family on the JP side right now, and it just makes Locke just not valuable. Locke's chaining family is just so small and inconsequential that, yes, in a very specific party with Red 13, he could probably be pretty damn good if you could get, you know, the water element on Red 13 very easily, which you could do with Fid, but then you're bringing a debuffer to also with a debuffer, so I guess you can keep strong debuffs up constantly, but you just, it's units to make a unit useful, and that's the problem here. Either that or you have to find water equipment, and that can be difficult as well, and none of the real strong true dual wielders have water element weapons at this point, so... And Stardust chaining. So Locke may be good in the future. Maybe there are going to be a lot of Stardust Ray chainers in the future, but this is a giant bad kit in a lot of senses, because just not having strong water element people at this point, and even in the future, while I've said that maybe Tidus will be good with him, I really don't think that Tidus will be good at all with him, because Tidus is probably going to stick with the quick hit chaining, which is an entirely different frames and totally useless with Locke. It doesn't mean that you couldn't use the water debuff, but Locke's chaining just isn't that great, which is kind of too bad. Locke does have natural dual wield casting, he does have camouflage, he has you know, a rare steal chance, which again, I wish stealing was a better mechanic in this game, but Alum just don't give a shit. He even has the increased chaining rate as well as the upped true dual wield, which means that he could be an incredibly strong chainer as well. But again, his chaining family is just so bad, and his element is so off-matched right now with anything strong that has recently popped into the game, that no, it's just no. There's other things that I really like. 150% Esper stats, you know, bonus attack for true dual wielding, gets triple casting at the start of battle if he has his own TMR equipped, which again, his TMR is great. He has, cooldown abilities that are debuffs. He can put auto revive on himself with 1% auto revive. That's very adorable. That's adorable. He also has, and that ability feels his limit burst. There's lots of good utility in his kit. There really is. But the simple fact here is that, oh my god, there are many things I do not like about Locke. His chaining family is bad currently on the JP side. His element is totally off-matched. And to continue on, that Super TMR is going to be a serious problem into the future. As a matter of fact, I really hate this Final Fantasy VI event for a lot of reasons. This is Alan going, well, how can we tempt people to go Super TMR crazy? Put this dagger in the game, I guess, was their answer. And let me tell you something, I really hate this. This is just arena cancer. And arena is already bad enough, even on the JP side. There are many days where I just have way too many frustrating times with arena, and you have to ask yourself, is 40 lapis and whatever the hell they give me at the end of the week really worth it? And the answer should be no. The answer should be no at this point. But that is personal that I want to talk about in a separate video that I will be recording after this. So let's take a look at Locke, and I don't know, I'm not sure if we... I mean, there aren't many 7-star Locks, and I haven't even maxed 6-starred my Locke yet, because, again, I just think that spending the resources on this guy is not worth it at this point. Until there's better chaining here, if he's your only debuffer, well, what do you care then? It's fine. Like, just use him and enjoy. There is power behind him. It's just kind of off-matched, and yeah, off-matched? I don't even know if that's a word, but maybe I can copyright it. Locke could be a very good unit in the future, but could-be's are very hard to recommend. And again, out of this banner, I feel like there has been just a lot. Can we even steal? I think we stole nothing. I told you how much I love stealing as a mechanic in this game. I mean, really, Locke could be great in the future. All we need is a good Final Fantasy X where Quick Hit, a already dead chaining family, could just be passed over and... oh, we're getting nothing. We could just pass on from Quick Hit and maybe he'll be Stardust Ray chaining in the future. Maybe that'll be Titus's thing. Even though it doesn't match Titus at all, it could be a thing. But yeah, I think that Locke is just way too... well, one day he might be absolutely great. For now, he's definitely passable if you don't have anything else in for an option for a debuffer. He definitely can be a top debuffer that can deal some damage too, much like Auron. But if you already have Auron, CG Lid, and especially Enhanced CG Lid, or Edgar, there is no reason to try for Locke at all. So yes, that is my general review of Locke. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Next time we'll be talking about Arena, because examining Locke has kind of made me realize that 2019 for Arena may suck just way too much. That's all for now. See you next time. And yes, I'm going to do a Kingdom Hearts Cloud review too.